Hello there and welcome to the very first ever episode of Upfront. I'm Jay Legate and I'm joined by Peter Staunton and Carlo Garganese, and we're going to be talking about Cristiano's move to Juventus ahead of his debut against Chievo in Serie A. So, how you doing, Peter?
I'm doing well, thank you, Jay.
And you, Carlo?
I'm doing great.
So I think the best place to start with this is that feeling we all had in the summer where we heard about it and we were like, this is never going to happen, surely. I mean...
No one believed it at first because this is something that Cristiano's done, pretty much every year. He throws a little strop at the end of the season, threatens to leave, and in the end he usually gets a new contract. But this summer it didn't happen.
I mean, the Champions League final, for example, it was Bale had scored that incredible goal, Real Madrid had won, then all of a sudden everything's about Ronaldo again.
Well, they had that strange situation the night of the Champions League final where the man who was responsible for getting them to the final, and Cristiano Ronaldo, and the man who's responsible for winning the final, and Gareth Bale, were both threatening to leave. A couple of days later, they lose Zinedine Zidane. And, the whole project that they've built over the last sort of 4 or 5 years is in danger of unravelling. And I tell you, right until the second that I saw him, posing with a Juventus shirt, I didn't believe for a second that Ronaldo was actually going to go ahead and do it. It looked like, some of these false promises he's made before in the past, and he ends up staying put, but it took us all by surprise.
Because speculation is always rife in the summer, and a lot of it we just kind of let go by the wayside. But what do you think actually caused him to leave Madrid?
I think he wanted a new challenge. He's done everything at Madrid. He's broken every single record there is. He's won every trophy. He's won 4 Champions Leagues, 2 La Liga titles. He's the top scorer of all time for the club. What else can Ronaldo do?
On a football level, it's a good time to leave because, you look at all the key players. They're getting to that sort of 30-year-old age bracket. Keylor Navas has obviously been replaced as well this summer. Zidane gone. Maybe at this stage, Real Madrid are sort of coming to the end of a cycle. And I think if Ronaldo jumps out now rather than going down as Madrid sort of take a step back from that prominence, I think he'll always be able to tell himself, and Real Madrid fans will always be able to remember that he went out on top and gave them 9 incredible seasons.
Do you reckon that might be a factor? Madrid sensed that was the case and thought that, again, from their perspective, it was a good time for him to leave as well?
Well, it means nobody is unsellable. You would think that Cristiano was going to retire at Real Madrid and become a club ambassador, whatever. The doors would always be open to Cristiano at a club like that. But, it shows that if Juventus are willing to stump up the money, then, if you get 100 million for a 33-year-old at the end of the day, who's going to be 34 before the season runs out, that is good business.
Madrid haven't done bad out of it. That's a lot of money for a 33-year-old. Obviously, he's a commercial monster. Juventus are going to make that money back easily. Just have to look at him on social media, for example. The guy, he's the most popular man in the world. He transcends football. It's great for Juventus. It's absolutely fantastic for Juventus. For Real Madrid, they're going to have to find a way to replace him because the number of goals that he's scored for Madrid, that's not easy to replace, whether he's 33 or 23.
It's true. If you look at him as a physical specimen, he's almost like the embodiment of what modern football is. And there's no telling, really, if he, at the age he is now, how much longer he can actually play for.
Well, the only thing that could slow him down, I think, in the next maybe 2 or 3 seasons is an injury. And thankfully, he's managed to get through his career without anything major or anything too sinister happening him health-wise. So he still has that in his favour. But I'd worry for Madrid because, they had to compensate for Ronaldo's absences last year. I think he missed maybe 7 or 8 of the away matches. He didn't even travel for a lot of time. Zidane was going to rest him and keep him healthy for the tail end of the season. And when it came time for Ronaldo to perform, he was there. More than 15 goals again in the Champions League last season. And it's not just the Champions League, it's in La Liga as well. Look at his average. Over the course of 9 seasons, he scored 50 goals a year. Crazy. Where else are they going to get those goals from within the squad? It's impossible to see anybody like a Benzema, a Bale, Asensio, any of those guys putting up those kind of numbers.
That's the worry I have for Madrid this coming season is Benzema, he scored 5 league goals last season, and he was playing largely for Ronaldo. So now the emphasis is on Benzema to score the goals as the number 9. Bale's going to come in, obviously. It's huge.
It's a big gap to fill, though.
It's a big gap. He's got the ability, but can he stay fit? He's always injured, and all it needs is one injury for Gareth Bale, and then all of a sudden, Asensio is he's a fantastic young talent, but he's very young. And the midfield don't contribute too many goals, that Madrid team. Modric, Toni Kroos, Casemiro, there's not too many goals in there. So suddenly you take Ronaldo out of the team and you're wondering where's the goals going to come from. They still play great football, they'll still be controlling games, but putting the ball in the back of the net, that's what Ronaldo was there for.
Do you think that he should have left? If you were Ronaldo, would you have left?
Yeah, I would, because of a few sort of external factors as well. We know that this sort of dissatisfaction he's had with Real Madrid as a club, with Florentino Perez as a president, and with living in Spain has been rumbling on for quite some time now. And it's got to do with the tax case, which saw him pay 17 million euros in back taxes just this summer past. Perez said last summer that it was something that was quite annoying to Ronaldo, the fact that he was living in this country and creating so much wealth and opportunity for other players and for supporters to come and see him, and yet, you know, he's been harassed for this money. He felt at that stage that Madrid could have done more as a club to support him institutionally, that they sort of backed away and left him to face those problems on his own. So I think...
Is that their job though?
Well, you know, he's your number one employee. You got to look after him, and we know that his teammates will always look after him on the field. They don't mind playing for him because they know that if they satisfy him on the pitch, he's going to repay them with goals. And Real Madrid were quite happy to exploit the commercial monster that was Cristiano Ronaldo for so long. But when he needed them to be behind him, you know, with some positive words or whatever, they weren't there. They backed away from the whole situation. So maybe that dissatisfaction has rumbled on for such a length of time. You combine that with Neymar getting that huge contract out of Paris Saint-Germain, Alexis Sanchez getting that huge contract out of Manchester United. And we know that Ronaldo was promised that new contract by Florentino Perez on the pitch in Cardiff in 2017 when they won the Champions League. It never materialised. They were probably thinking he's 33, he was 32 then. Is he too old to be given this monster contract too? He wanted them to, you know, stand up and say, give me that contract and I'll repay you with goals. They didn't do that. He felt betrayed. Off he goes.
He is an emotional guy, Ronaldo. And I think one of the reasons he actually chose Juventus is, you know, when he scored that incredible bicycle kick in Turin, he got standing ovation. That's true. And he's come out and said, you know, that was one of the greatest moments of his career. I mean, it's probably the greatest goal of his career, but the way he was felt so touched, and he is obsessed with being the best, not just today, but he wants to be the greatest player of all time. And no player in history has won the three major leagues, La Liga, Premier League and Serie A. No player's ever been top scorer in all of those three leagues. Ronaldo can do that, you know, and if he does that, then he can say, well, you know, I'm the greatest player in history. It's not something I agree with personally, but, you know, he has that argument. Whereas you take, say, Leo Messi, his great rival of the last decade, he's played his whole career at one club, and that's always one argument that you have against Messi. Whereas Ronaldo, he's proven it in different teams, in different leagues. He's challenged himself. Even now, at the age of 33, when most players are going to be past their best. I mean, if you go back in history and look at the past Ballon d'Or winners, the greats of all time, very few, if any, attackers, that is, past the age of 33 have maintained the level that Ronaldo is at now. So that's another challenge for him. If he can still be playing at a world-class level at the age of 34, 35, you know, and win the Champions League for Juventus as well, which is their great obsession, then, you know, he can say, I am the greatest of all time.
So we've discussed Ronaldo's move, we've discussed why he would have made it. What happens at Madrid now? I mean, do they have to bring in players to supplement that? I mean, they must do, surely. I mean,
yeah, definitely, but they're not going to get any of the players that they want this summer. I mean, you're not going to extract Neymar or Kylian Mbappe in the next fortnight. You're not going to extract Eden Hazard in the next fortnight. There's no chance of replacing him this summer, so they're going to have to muddle through. It's going to be a season of transition for Real Madrid, and I think Lopetegui, the new manager, I think high on his list of priorities will be to dampen down expectation. I don't think they're good enough to challenge Barcelona over the course of a regular La Liga season. Without Ronaldo and the magic that Zidane provides them on the touchline, I don't think they're favourites for the Champions League. So I think one for Madridistas worldwide is going to have to be a patient season, and one to realise that, you know, you're going to have to get weaker before you get stronger.
Is it time that other players, like you mentioned earlier, players like Asensio, it's a great opportunity for them, no?
Well, Asensio, the youngster that's come in from Brazil, Vinicius, I mean, 17 years old, it's a lot to ask from a player so young.
He's going to get more opportunities though than he would have.
Well, he's looked brilliant in pre-season. He's looked like a real special talent. But, you know, the consistency at a young age is difficult. You know, doing that week in, week out in La Liga, it's not easy. I think that Madrid, they have to keep Bale fit. They really do.
Bale's the key.
I think he's definitely one of the keys, yeah. He's absolutely crucial. It's hard to see Bale. I mean, when was the last time Bale went 20 games without an injury?
He's had 2 or 3 injuries every season he's been there. I know he's played well when he's played, but he's missed probably about 50% of the minutes since he's gone to Real Madrid. And you look, Bale was supposed to take over from Ronaldo, and all throughout their time together. I mean, Ronaldo's won 4 Ballon d'Ors, I think, in the time that Gareth Bale arrived at the club. So that tells you who's won that particular individual battle and who was the most important player throughout their tenure.
Lopetegui will probably play a 4-3-3. So the starting 3 will probably be Bale on the right, Benzema in the middle, and then on the left you're looking at Asensio or maybe Isco.
It'd be Isco, probably in behind Benzema and Bale, I would say.
Yeah, I mean, you take Bale out of that team, and you're looking at that front 3, and you're thinking, are they going to get enough goals?
I don't think so. Well, look, this new manager is relatively unproven. He played some good football with Spain in the run-up to the Euros, but you know his CV is skinny, especially if we're getting to a club like Real Madrid. And I'm surprised they took a gamble on a manager so inexperienced. He's almost a Moyes going in there after Ferguson.
We all know what happened there, eh?
I don't know how we feel about hearing that, but we're looking at the fact that obviously you take a linchpin out of the Madrid team, and suddenly they're not the same animal that they were before, and you put that into a team like Juventus, who have been successful in the Champions League the last couple of seasons, not won it, but they've pushed and they've been there or thereabouts. What does that do to them? Does that make them? What they've done to bring in Ronaldo to win the Champions League, will it happen?
Well, that's one of the 2 main reasons why Juventus support him. They're obsessed with winning the Champions League. I mean, they haven't won it for 22 years. They've been to 5 finals since then. Lost 2 of the last 4 Champions League finals. I mean, they feel like they're cursed. And they look at Ronaldo. I mean, he has missed the Champions League. He's won it 5 times, 4 times with Real Madrid, last 3 on the trot. He always performs when it matters. And they feel that Ronaldo is the guy that can get them over the line.
The person who's missed out is Gonzalo Higuain. They bought him in 2 years ago because they thought he was the missing piece of the jigsaw. He was enough to keep them ahead in Serie A, but wasn't enough at crucial times in the Champions League. He's departed for AC Milan, so it doesn't change an awful lot for Juventus in terms of how they play. They'll still be expected to play to a centre forward, the same way that they were playing to Gonzalo Higuain. It's just that they've got a vastly superior centre forward in Ronaldo than Higuain.
That's it. I mean, I think the partnership potentially between Paulo Dybala, who's an incredible talent, and you know the heir to Lionel Messi in the Argentina team, and Ronaldo, it's mouth-watering.
For a long time, Serie A has been forgotten about. Does Ronaldo's arrival changes everything for the league as a whole, no?
Look, I think what we've seen with Messi and Ronaldo, it's about to be put to the test, is I think we've got a generation of fans who support players rather than support teams. It's going to be the ultimate test of that. Let's see how many kids around the world will be going around with Juventus shirts, the same ones that would have been going around with Real Madrid shirts. So it's going to bring an added, I suppose, focus on Serie A, but not necessarily. Look, nobody's going to be interested in the Milan derby. Nobody's going to be interested in Napoli. It's going to be, they're interested in whoever Juventus are playing that week because they want to see Ronaldo out there on the pitch. So do I think he can succeed in Italy? And on a personal level, yeah. I mean, you look around Serie A, there isn't a team that can get anywhere close to Juventus, even if they didn't have Ronaldo. You know, they could probably play with one of the reserve team forwards up front and still win the league.
They've had their way for quite a while.
Yeah, what is 7 league titles in a row?
7 in a row, yeah. I mean, look, it's great for Juventus, and other than wanting to win the Champions League, the other reason they bought him is they want to take the Juventus brand onto the next level. Juventus are they're the 10th richest club in the world right now. Now, they earn something like 250 million a year less than Manchester United, Real Madrid. To be the best in the world, you know, money, it makes such a difference now. They realise that with Ronaldo, that by building the brand, and it's happened already, you know, Juventus were the most viewed team on YouTube in the month after Ronaldo arrived. They had the most Instagram interactions, and we're just talking about, you know, social media and YouTube there, but the Ronaldo effect, as they're calling it, is going to be huge, and not only on Juventus, but also on the league. As Peter said, you know, more people are going to watch the league. Attendances in Serie A have been abysmal for the last 10 years. You know, the stadiums are half empty. What effect will having Ronaldo? Will it bring more top players? Well, you know, Luka Modric, he wanted to go to Inter this summer. Perez wouldn't let him leave, but
one too many players to sort of jump ship at the same time.
Oh yeah, but that's just an example. You know, will other great players follow Ronaldo to Serie A? So we'll have to wait and see. But it's definitely a positive for Serie A.
I think that's a nice place to end it. Don't forget you can follow Pete and Carlo on Instagram and Twitter. Just follow the links in the description below. And also, should Ronaldo have gone? Should he have stayed? What do you think? Let us know in the comments below. And subscribe. Don't forget to subscribe for all your latest news direct from goal.